Alike doesn't mean the same. There are many people I have a lot of things in common with. There are many people that we have certain aspects of our lives that are alike or akin to one another. Okay. However, I'm a multifaceted, multidimensional creature. You may match me on one of the planes of my existence, or maybe another way to explain it is I'm a 6-speed vehicle. So my first gear, which is my lowest and my slowest gear, you may match me on, but you can't match me on the other 5. Even if you match me on 2 or 3, you can't match me on all 5. Now, of course, a person doesn't have to be that absolute perfect match or exactly the same as you are, because you don't want to be with someone who's too much alike. There's no room for growth there. If I want a mirror, I can stand in a mirror. I don't need someone who, word for word, thought for thought, step for step, is my twin. On one hand, they may not be in my way to hinder me to grow, but if we're not growing at the same speed, and you are never a challenge, iron sharpens iron as the countenance of one man sharpens another. So if you're not sharpening me, and how are things sharpened? By rubbing against each other. Well, we're not rubbing against each other. We're just both there. You're a bit obsolete. We don't need 2 clones. Each and every one of us are an individual. We have our own callings in our lives, our own things that only we can do in the way that we can do it. God doesn't need carbon copies. If he wanted carbon copies, he could have made an earth full of carbon copies. Automatons, robots, all identical. But he didn't, because he loves and relishes individuality. In our society, again, it pushes sameness. Everybody's the same. No, we're not. We're not even the same species, which is a whole nother topic. There are multiple subspecies and groupings, and all the scientists know it, but the reason why no one speaks about it is because of control. You don't see lions going to the tigers and the other mammals saying that I'm the king of the jungle, and so all of you have to listen to me. No, each kind rules its own. So to say that everybody is the same gives one group the so-called authority to rule over all groups. We're not the same. We never have been the same. That's one of the biggest lies that have ever been told. But just because we're not the same doesn't mean we can't get along and cohabitate peacefully together. Look at the jungles. Look at the rest of the world. All manner of creatures live in harmony, and in a symbiosis, where their lives and their differences complement one another. Only humans are causing all the destruction. Only humans are causing all the issues for every living thing on this earth. No other creatures. They had a perfect balance and harmony until we came along with our destructive ways and means, and trying to bend nature and humans and everything else, bend it to our will and our desires, instead of learning to live in harmony with what is already established. But that's a topic for another time. But alike doesn't mean the same. There are many things that are alike that are vastly different. Or have similarities, but are still hugely different. As I mentioned earlier, about the hybrid animals. They can breed, but they can't prosper. You can mix a donkey with a horse and get a mule. But that mule cannot have children. It cannot prosper because it's unnatural. They are alike enough to be able to create a single birth. But they're not the same. Therefore, their offspring can no longer give birth and be fruitful and replenish. Having similarities with a person makes it easier to get along with other beings that are similar to you. But it doesn't mean you're still not an individual. It doesn't mean that you have to assimilate. Change yourself to fit into their niche, their group, their hive mentality, their flock. I am not now, nor have I ever been that type of a being. I've been around way too long. I've seen way too much, even when I was young. Again, I'm an old spirit. This is foolishness in my eyes. This is childish behavior from a, not just society, but from a species that should have, in my opinion, evolved so much more than they have. And it's not because they haven't been given plenty of time to do so. But that's a topic for another subject, another time. But I wanted clarity because if you think of me and process the words and the things that I say in context with normal, or what is considered to be normal modern society, nothing I say or do will fit. So I am telling you, take me out of context completely. That box I don't fit in. Never have, never will, don't want to. There's nothing desirous inside that box. And until people climb out of the box, they won't even know that there's so much more than what's inside that box because they've gotten comfortable inside the box. They think the box is the universe. It's not even a fraction of the universe. And again, for creatures such as myself, beings such as myself, who know there's so much more outside of the box. We don't want to get tied down or tied up or tied into anything that is going to bind us to the box, or the box mentality, or the hive, or the herd. Not now, not never. Very few people, very, very few. And it's not just about intelligence or psychological intelligence. It's about emotional intelligence. It's about emotional maturity. It's about self-development and deep diving and asking yourself the hard questions and being honest about the answers. It's about a level of self-reflecting within, long before you start reflecting on what's outside of you. A level of evolution, a level of vibration and vibrating. That everything in my conversation would be foreign to most people. And I haven't even dropped any real pearls or any deep knowledge. This is just a generalized statement. And for probably 90% of people who will hear this message. 75% of what I said is going to go over their heads, or will be incomprehensible to them. And again, it's no right or wrong or good or bad. It just is what it is. Just like I am what I am. And there's no changing that. And even if I could change it, I wouldn't. I'm not looking for anyone or anything. I don't need anyone or anything that is external. Do I enjoy companionship? Yes. Do I enjoy having a mate? Sometimes. Most of the time, no. Very, very few people can walk the path that I walk on and keep up with me, where they're not slowing me down, or they're stopping on one floor when there's 10 more flights of steps I want to go up, and holding me back and holding me down, or standing in my way, blocking the way. And again, I understand if you don't understand, but I am not looking for anything from anyone but myself. To sum up everything I just said, I am not searching for anything external. I am searching internally. And should I meet people who can share in portions or the full journey, wonderful. But it is required for me to embark upon the journey. It isn't required at all. Have a blessed day.